Nice to meet you. I'm Jeannie Armstrong, the assistant principal at Dilla Springs Elementary, and today I have with me Amber Eddings.
Hello, we're going to be talking about a cultural flyer that we made for, or that I made for UT Plays program. Okay, thanks for meeting with me today, Jeannie.
You're very welcome.
I wanted to show you my family communication flyer and get your thoughts on it. I know I sent it to you ahead of time, so you've had a chance to look it over. We'll go over it real quick. First, I've got some contact information for myself, or actually just my name and what class that we're talking about, which is special education, specifically the CDC classroom at our school. In the class overview, we talked about how, since this is an elementary school, our K-5 special education class, students, how they build reading, math, and life skills through engaging with hands-on lessons, and we align those to Tennessee state standards, including English language arts and English language proficiency standards. I'm not going to read the whole thing through to you, but it talks about IEPs and how we support students' needs. This flyer was to be for our K-5 parents to make it easier for them to engage in school opportunities and strategies that will help their children at home, and to be able to generalize those skills in the classroom environment as well. So the goal was honestly just to make communication easier for families instead of another paper they stick in a folder and never look at again. They also need to be able to, or I also need to be able to connect it to my growth as a teacher, which we're going to also discuss some dispositions. The four main ones are open-mindedness, self-reflection, curiosity, and equity. So we'll kind of talk about those as we go. So we're going to walk through the flyer. We've got some classroom strategies, how we use collaborative learning. We've also got visual supports and sentence frames, and differentiated instruction. Those are all things that we can generalize in school and at home. We have a section for keep in touch, where we can share ideas, ask questions, request for an interpreter, or request a meeting. And there's a QR code there, Ms. Armstrong, that takes you directly to my school email address, so that it comes right up and they're ready to go ahead and send me a message. Classroom environment, it talks about how we work in both small groups, use visual aids and supports. We have a calming corner in our room, where actually we have two calming corners in our room where students can go when they need use of that. And we also have student-centered goals that we have in our classroom environment. On this flyer in particular, we have talked about a family literacy night, which just comes, we're having one tonight in our school. But this one will, this QR code on the family literacy night will take you directly to a calendar that I made up for our school, for the different activities that we're going to have throughout the year. We also have, are going to have the cultural celebration day coming up, and volunteer signups, and signup links will be sent home through our school newsletter and available on Facebook. We also have some suggestions for how parents can help their families. Read together daily, review schoolwork, ensure attendance every day, and use simple English phrases at home. Celebrate small successes. So it also kind of gives an explanation down at the bottom of how you can use the flyer. So this kind of explains how our classroom runs day to day, and it gives us ways that we can help at home that aren't so complicated. And there's places where and different situations where parents can become involved in different activities that we have here at school. Even like we're going to have the winter thing is also tonight. What's that called?
It's winter literacy night.
Winter literacy. I thought it was two different events. It's just one.
No, it's one. It's literacy night, but it's a winter theme.
Oh, okay. Winter theme literacy night. So that'll be a good event to go to. Let's see. So we've gone through all of those things on the flyer. So just wanted that with the QR code, everybody's using QR codes, just wanted it to feel normal. Just like you would use it any other time with your TV or going to a store or whatever. Everybody has QR codes now, so this was an easy way to keep in touch with us and know what we're doing. So do you have anything to say about the flyer itself, Ms. Armstrong?
I think the flyer looks very nice. the colors jump out at you. I think it's a good reference, and I'm sorry, I always look to the left because I have it in color right here. I think it's a good reference for parents to keep that on the refrigerator to refer back to throughout the year. I like how things are bolded in the little squares. That's attention getting. The QR codes are very nice. It makes it to where they can just scan and go. I think it's a very good look.
Is there anything that you would change?
There's just a couple quick things I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. Since this, would be nice to keep on the fridge for a quick reference, I would type out your email address maybe on that teacher contact line, and I would also put the school's phone number in case that's needed. And I like the white font on the dark background. That really stands out to you. I like how you put the little clip art behind the QR code. That looks very nice there. And at the bottom, I think I might make that font bold, like either match that font or white. I think that would make that stand out at the bottom. But overall, I think it's a nice little flyer.
Okay. So let's move into the dispositions. The 4 primary dispositions are open-mindedness, self-reflection, curiosity, and educational equity. So I'm going to talk about open-mindedness first. In special education, you got to be open-minded for sure. One thing I've learned is when families don't respond, it's usually not because they don't care. It's usually sometimes school has just never felt comfortable for them, or they don't know how to communicate with you, or they think that they're being judged in some way. So instead of expecting them to come to us in a certain way, I'm trying to make more entry points so they can communicate how they're comfortable. I have some parents that like to text me. I have some parents that like to email. I have some parents that would prefer a phone call. Mm-hmm. There's different ways that we can communicate. So being open-minded to how they would like to respond is a good way to approach that. Mm-hmm. Self-reflection is the second one. And in special education, especially, we send home a lot of paperwork. So, but that doesn't mean communication is actually happening. I know I've sent home where I've got important paperwork, and sometimes we don't even get that back. But we definitely need to make sure we send out those reminders about, like tonight with our winter literacy night and those kinds of things in different formats so that they get that information. And it made me think about whether I'm actually approachable or just technically available. So I try to build those relationships with my families so that they trust me and are willing to talk. I have several families that just like to hear not all bad stuff. They want to hear good stuff. So sometimes I'll just make a phone call just to say, hey, so and so did awesome today. I just wanted to tell you how great they did, or I had your student was recognized today in our program. I just wanted to let you know that. So I want to not only let them be with them in the hard times, but also celebrate the growth that their students have too. The QR code especially changes the tone of the flyer because it allows them to just click and they get me right away. Mm-hmm. Curiosity, families see things that we don't. So in special education, parents will see all the different behaviors. They know what has worked in the past, what doesn't work. So if we get that feedback, that helps us know how to move forward. So a student might not talk here, but talks nonstop at home, or can do skills independently at home, but won't attempt them at school. So that communication will help me understand the whole child. Well, do we need to work on this skill, or do they already know how to do it? We just need to try to figure out a way to get it out of them. So those are things that we need to be curious about. The last disposition is educational equity. So for me, equity means families can participate without needing time, confidence, or background knowledge about school systems. Short explanations, simple wording, flexible contact. They don't want to read a whole bunch of paperwork. They just want to know, family literacy. That's all I need to know. Family literacy at 6 o'clock. So that's pretty much what short explanations are good for educational equity. That's something easy that they can plug into, like especially in the original case study for this project about Elias as a refugee family. People that are around that family, supporting that family, can interpret for them smaller messages easier and faster than big, long, drawn-out pages to help them understand what we're getting ready to do or what we are suggesting. So an implementation plan is the next thing that I wanted to say. Did you have anything to say about the dispositions?
No, I think you're spot on. I think some of the parents are struggling to make ends meet and just in survival mode, and having those multiple lines of communication and ways to make you approachable helps them approach you more with things they need or things they see or concerns.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good idea.
So an implementation plan is the next thing that we'll discuss. The biggest thing will just be consistency. If they reach out and I don't respond, that's not a good thing. That they won't keep trying. So I try to respond very quickly. Sometimes I get messages from parents at 6:30 in the morning because they've gotten up and had a rough morning. Well, as soon as I see that message at 7 o'clock, I'm emailing them or texting them back, say I got you. I'll be ready for them when you get here. You know, just let me know when you arrive, and I'll be waiting for you. So those are things that that we, you know, I'm always trying to do and get to them quickly. I'm not going to realistically be able to send a positive message every single week for every student, but I do make a point to share those successes, like with our friend that we just had that has probably never had a positive call drawn out of the box. He had a positive call drawn out of the box, and that was very exciting for him this last week. But I do make a point to share those successes when they happen. I did call the parent, and I was like, hey, he did so great, like I just said a minute ago. And she said, honey, you can call me anytime. So, and this is not a parent that typically communicates with us very well, so that was a positive. So I also have to communicate with them when something goes wrong. So that's just something that we have to do. But I want those successes to overpower.
You will build a relationship with your positives so that when you do have to deliver a negative message or a bad report, it does help make it go down a little easier.
It does, and when they feel they trust you, right?
And they're comfortable.
They're comfortable with you, so they know you've got their kid's best interest in mind. So I plan to set aside a weekly time to respond, so it doesn't get lost in the day, just in case something does come up and I don't get right back to them. Normally, though, I'm right on it. I get right back to them within the hour, if possible, because with special needs kids, the parents have a lot of anxieties over their children, and it's understandable. So I try to get back to them as soon as I can. So I've got some questions for you, Ms. Armstrong.
Absolutely.
So from your experience, what actually keeps families communicating after the first contact?
What keeps families communicating is an open line of communication, and you talking to them outside of just the calling with bad reports. You're fortunate in the fact that most all your students are car riders, so you see them each day, so you do the little casual exchanges that pave the way for that professional relationship. The hey, how are you? Oh, you got a new car, how nice, or how's everybody doing today? You have all those informal contacts that help pave the way to a great relationship.
Yeah, I like that for the most part, that we do have that. I do have some, several that are bus riders, but I do have several that are car riders too, and that does help just to be able to have that contact. A lot of times my kids that are more severe are car riders, so that helps being able to communicate daily with them.
Yes.
So let me know, what is one mistake that you made early on in your career with family communication that you wish someone had warned you about?
Early on in my career, that's a long time ago, I think I would say it's more important to be calling for positives than negatives. Early on in my career, you're so overwhelmed with learning the ins and outs of a new job and being just thrown in the fire that a lot of the time you only communicate the negatives. It's so important to take time, whether it's a text message, an email, and anything like that, to make those positive communications prior to any negatives you might need to make. It just makes it so much easier for a parent to accept.
Okay, so it's part of my SMART goals that I've made for myself, just professionally, are to try to make at least 3 positive contacts a week, just to make sure that we don't get caught up in the negative. Just make those 3 positive contacts a week, and just keep that positive flow going. Is there anything else that this assignment mostly made me realize that communication is not just about sending more information. You don't just keep sending your information. You need that feedback from your parents. So it's about making it easier for families to respond to you. I want it to feel predictable and safe to be able to communicate with me, so that they won't, we've got to work together, because the kids need both, all of us, to work with them and help them and support them. So, is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about my project, or anything, the dispositions, anything?
No, I think your project looks very nice. I think your dispositions very well thought out and went well. And I know you have 1,001 checkoff lists down there. And if you're familiar with Google Forms, that'd be a good way for you to just scan your badge, a QR code, and type in a kid's name and the date, and submit, and it'll track how many positives everybody's getting, so you can be very mindful of spreading it out amongst your entire class versus just the ones
Just
that
a
are the
few.
easiest to brag on,
Sure.
And I don't care a bit to show you that, and that might make your life a little easier, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
That sounds good.
But no,
I'd be
I think
interested in knowing.
you've done a great job.
Thank you.